I know how it feels. You want to change, you've tried to change, but for some reason, every time you step forward into the abyss, you find yourself failing and you find yourself going back to type. The reason is that you're trying to change and rebuild yourself and your life using blunt tools. And the blunt tools that you're using are your old ways and your old persona. What you need to do is you need to work out ways to be able to fix the state forever. You need to be able to work out ways to stop regressing and stop retarding your development and start to progress your development and evolve yourself into the next best version of yourself. One of the main problems that you may face is that as a middle-aged person, you are now stuck in your ways. You know enough about life to know that you want to change things, but you're also ingrained, and so many of the triggers that are going to keep you in a state of slavery, for want of a better word, are going to keep working on you for as long as you allow them to. And so there are three simple ways that you can try to break the chain, break the feedback loop, and I'm going to share them with you in a little while. But first, have a think about your own background, have a think about your circumstances, and have a think about how you got to be where you are today. Ask yourself this very serious question: is this what you want for the rest of your days? Because if you do, then you can press pause now or go on to the next fluffy animal on YouTube. But if you don't, then stick with me for a little while and we'll talk about some of the techniques that you can apply and personalize and customize for yourself in order to break the feedback loop. If you find that you're using blunt tools, it's because your old persona was instrumental in blunting those tools. In layman's terms, the things that you've been doing haven't been working, and yet, for want of a better solution, you just kept doing them. And as a result, you blunted the tools increasingly until those tools and the old ways of doing things are now no longer of any use to you, especially as you are now entering into a new phase of your life and you need to be a new version of yourself. And you can't be a new version of yourself if you're just going to build and fabricate using substandard materials and substandard tools and equipment. The substandard tools and equipment that you may be using will include emotional responses, misplaced loyalties, identity shifts that you haven't yet made. It may stem way back into your childhood, or it may be misplaced loyalty in a relationship that you're in now. And as I've said previously, it's not my job to tell you to crush, dismiss, or refuse a relationship. However, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't impress upon you the strength that you need to draw from in order to challenge and question not only the ways that you've been doing things, but the ways that you've been telling yourself that you're doing these things for. The story you tell yourself and the way that you narrate your life has to face a radical shift. You have to use techniques and strategies in order to break the spell. So, what are some of those techniques and strategies? The first technique and strategy I would suggest is that you recognize the triggers and you recognize the ways of thinking and you personalize it and give it a name. The more ridiculous the name, the better. Why don't you call it something like your tiny old self? So when you hear the narratives and the voices in your mind telling you why you shouldn't be doing something, and all of the misplaced loyalties or the misplaced cues or emotional triggers or fears that you want to avoid, when you face this and when you find yourself hearing these voices, you have to say to yourself, look, that's just my old self talking, my little old self. Give it a name. Barry, Charles, Miriam, doesn't matter what it's called. Just give it a name which is going to give you reason to smile, smirk, and laugh at yourself a little bit in order to displace and in order to dismiss the old narrative. You can simply say, that's so and so, but we don't do that anymore. Name the shame, Give it a diminutive name, ridicule it, and challenge it when you hear it in your ears. The second of the 3 strategies I would suggest when you find yourself lapsing into old ways or picking up the blunted tools is to engage in a pattern interrupt of some kind. Similar to number 1, you do something physical. You may go into another room and say, this is how we do these things. This is how we face down our challenges. This is the new me. Put yourself into a state where you remove yourself from the environment and situation, if only for a couple of minutes, so that you can reset. It's a little bit like rebooting a computer, switching it off and switching it on again if you like. You're doing that to your mind. You're creating a pattern interrupt which is going to change the way you see things and change your perspective. When you go into your changed environment, you could say something like right time, right decision, right person. You can label yourself. Good call, good decision, good time. Give yourself a phrase which is going to trigger that pattern interrupt so that you can nail it and lock it in. A third strategy that you can engage in order to put down the blunted tools and to engage in your new style evolution of self and your version 2 of yourself is to anchor your change of mentality with a 60-day challenge of some kind. I'm not trying to sell you a 60-day challenge. I recommend 60 days because it's a good enough time, a long enough time to wire in some neurological changes into your mind. A 60-day challenge could include promising to reach out to one person a day, promising yourself that you will over-deliver to one person a day, taking it upon yourself to do something different or unusual. For example, I'm in a 60-day challenge even as we speak, is that I've made a 60-day challenge to post on YouTube every day for 60 days. And in order to do that today, I've had to rush home, set myself up, do a little bit of pre-planning, and then get down to brass tacks now. I'm determined to do a pattern interrupt. I'm determined to shed old ways, and I'm determined to make progress with my 60-day challenge. And just by doing that, I am, in effect, rewiring myself and rewiring my brain. I'm showing myself that I can meet my obligations and that I can keep promises to myself. And of course, one of the reasons that your tools are blunted is because the promises you've made to yourself in the past, for whatever reason, have been sabotaged by your emotional content, or the narratives you have, or the loyalties that you've placed in other people, who often are not reciprocating. So, what I'd like to suggest is that you consider the notion of your former self having got where you've got using blunted tools, and those tools have been blunted by sailing and knocking and chipping and bashing at things that cannot be fixed. And the harder you bashed, the blunter the tools became. What you need to do is you need to discard those old tools by using the techniques and strategies I've suggested, and then find yourself some new tools, some new equipment, and a fresher outlook in order to reinvent and rebuild yourself into your own version 2. Thank you, fellow seeker, for listening thus far. This has been a bit of a whistle-stop tour presentation, and I hope the watching of it doesn't suffer as a result. But I made a promise that I'm going to post daily for 60 days, and so this is the price I must pay sometimes. I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to do part 2 of this tomorrow and hopefully refine this a little bit and throw a bit more production quality into the process. Peace out, and remember, whatever it is you dare to do or dream, begin it now.